Laura just turned 13, so she's almost big enough to help Pa on the farm. The grass just cured, so they turn it into windrows, which are then turned into haycooks with the help of a hayrick. I have no idea what any of those words mean. I had to look at the illustration to see, oh, they're making haystacks. Yeah, this book makes it clear that if I had to live in a world without electricity, I would die 100 times over.
Argo Funk Book Review, Argo Funk Book Review.
Pa gets a little worried when he sees the muskrats have made an incredibly thick-walled house. That's a sign this winter will be extra cold. It'll be so bad, the geese don't even stop on their way south like they usually do. Pa sends Laura to town to buy a machine part. On the way home, she and Carrie go through the slough, which is a fancy term for a swamp lake thing. The grass is so high they quickly get lost. They're saved by Almanzo and Royal Wilder, the brothers from book 2 of the series. They haven't been mentioned in about 1,000 pages, so it's nice to see the series is finally going back to these characters. The Wilder brothers gave up their comfortable, rich life in New York because... I have no idea, actually. We're not told why they're here. Everyone is surprised by an unexpected October blizzard. It's cold, but fairly nice. Everyone stays by the stove all day. Pa tells stories and plays the fiddle. They have hot bean soup and tea to keep themselves warm. 3 days later, the blizzard ends. Pa finds a bunch of cattle on his farm. Their heads are frozen to the ground. I'm kind of surprised Pa lets them go instead of killing them for winter food. He was complaining about not having geese to kill earlier. This is a lot more meat, and he doesn't even have to work for it. They literally cannot move. Ma insists this is the end of the cold weather. From now on, they'll have a nice Indian summer. In this case, Indian summer means an Indian shows up during summertime. He goes to the general store and warns all the white men that there will be heap big snow for 7 months. Everyone decides to move to town for the winter. The Wilders will live at Royal's feed store. Laura's family will live at Pa's hotel. I have to ask, who was watching the feed store and hotel all year long when Pa and the Wilders weren't there? It sounds like they haven't visited town in months. That is no way to run a business. Next, we get the chapter which is on the cover of the book. All the kids go to school. They have a lot of fun playing with each other. That cover is a lie. The truth is they're in school for less than a week when a blizzard hits. They have a terrible time going home through the blizzard. You can't see where you're going. You can't hear or say anything. And if you stop moving, you freeze to death. They make it home, but it's not like being at home during a blizzard is all that exciting. It's cold all the time. They wake up and clean the house. Once that's done, there's nothing else to do except sew or read from one of their school books until it's time to go to bed. Not exactly an action-packed day. The highlight of each day is when Pa leaves the house for 5 minutes to feed the animals in the backyard. He does that in the morning and the afternoon. Often he plays the fiddle at night. As for the Wilders, they live in the back part of their store. Their cellar is filled with enough supplies to make a doomsday prepper jealous. Every day they eat a hearty breakfast of 20 pancakes with syrup, butter, and ham or bacon. They never have to worry about running out of supplies. Almanzo is only 19 years old. He keeps his age a secret because you have to be 21 in order to own property. Almanzo gives a fairly long justification. He's doing his mental gymnastics to explain why breaking the law and lying to everyone is the right thing for him to do. Here's the problem. Almanzo should not be 19 years old. He was 23 in the year 1880, so that math is wrong. He's also not 6 years older than Laura. They are 10 years apart. Either Laura is bad at math or she purposely lied in this autobiography. Almanzo has a bunch of seed wheat, which he needs to grow crops next year. He swears he will never, ever sell it. He makes a special hiding place so nobody could find his wheat, and he lectures his brother a lot because he thinks Royal might secretly sell it. When the blizzard stops, the men spend a couple of days clearing the train tracks. The train brings their old friend, Mr. Edwards. Edwards complains he got a visit from a tax collector. He lied about having a wife and kids so he wouldn't have to pay as many taxes. The tax bill was still too high for his liking, so he is leaving the state before he has to pay anything. Edwards may be a tax cheat, but he is generous. He leaves behind a $20 bill for Mary's college fund. That is more money than Pa made all year long. No wonder the government wants to collect taxes from Edwards. He's super rich. Nobody knows it, but there will be no more trains for the next 6 months. There's not enough time for them to clear the tracks in between the many, many blizzards. A few blizzards later, things look bad. The family is running low on coal and lamp fuel. The stores are completely sold out. They're forced to stretch out their supplies by going to bed early and only using the cook stove to heat the house. On a clear day, Pa tries to fetch hay from the farm. Since everything is covered in snow, he can't tell where he's going. His horses keep getting stuck in the slough. That's cruel because they need as much hay as possible. When the fuel runs out, they start burning hay for fuel. Laura enjoys twisting the hay into stick shapes. I suspect she's just happy for a chance to finally do something different. There's a mail delivery. They get some magazines. Mother forces the kids to save them for Christmas. Christmas is pretty skimpy. Everyone gets a singular present and a piece of candy. They have oyster soup for supper. The family runs out of flour. They're forced to grind up wheat in the coffee mill so Mother can make bread. Bread and potatoes are all they get to eat for months. On a sunny day, the men in town go hunting, which was a bad choice on Pa's part. He should have gone back to the farm for more supplies. The hunting trip is a complete waste of time. A fool gets too excited. He shoots at nothing, which scares away all the antelope and Almanzo's horse. This is why you don't ask Elmer Fudd to be in your hunting party. On New Year's, the railroad company officially gives up on sending any trains to the town. Pa tells the humorous story of the foolish train superintendent who insisted they could still use trains in the worst blizzard ever. He tried to drive a train through a solid wall of ice. To no one's surprise, it proved to be a terrible idea. When the family runs out of wheat, Pa goes to the Wilders, who are still eating like Marie Antoinette. 20 pancake meals 4 months into a food shortage is not a good look. Pa fills a bucket with Almanzo's hidden wheat. Almanzo says the wheat's not for sale, but Pa doesn't care. He says he's buying it. Almanzo doesn't have a say in the matter. Almanzo is forced to agree to give up the wheat for free. I'm not entirely sure how this is different from stealing. It sounds like Pa robbed his neighbor. Pa spends a few hours chatting with the Wilders, eating their food. They ask him to come visit often. I don't know why he doesn't. He should also bring his family instead of having secret meals without them. There's a rumor that a settler has a bunch of wheat on his farm about 20 miles south of town. Almanzo does the math and concludes somebody in town is going to die unless they get that wheat. If he dies on the journey to get the wheat, so what? At least he's free, white, and pretending to be 21. That was a really awkward line of dialogue. I have no idea why Almanzo felt the need to be racist in his big heroic speech. Almanzo and another man make the heroic journey. It's a miracle they find the farm when they have no idea where it is. Mr. Anderson says the wheat's not for sale, but they refuse to take no for an answer. They buy 60 bushels of wheat at $1.25 each. Getting back to town nearly kills them, but they make it. When the store owner tries to charge $3 a bushel, an angry mob forms. Pa convinces the owner to charge a more reasonable price by threatening a total boycott of his store as soon as spring comes. Things start to get better in April when a warm wind blows. All they have to do is hold on until the train with supplies comes into town. They don't quite make it. The townsfolk loot the first train they see, instead of waiting for the supply train. This mail train has a Christmas barrel for the Ingalls family. It has a bunch of food and clothing inside, so they have a Christmas feast in May. They're all very happy, and hopefully their farm will not be completely destroyed. The end. Post-book follow-up. In my review of the last book, I said it definitely limits the storytelling opportunities when the main character never leaves her house. Well, now she really can't leave her house. She's forced to stay inside for 200 days. This book does a good job of demonstrating the ever-increasing fear and desperation as death comes closer and closer. I think it manages to keep things interesting and varied, despite the incredibly repetitive narrative. There's only so many times you can complain about the cold before readers get bored to tears. The people who dislike this book usually complain about the racism, or how boring it is to see the characters stay inside and complain about the cold over and over again. I also saw reviewers wonder how the characters went to the bathroom when they couldn't go outside. Let's not think too much about that, okay? Overall, I would say this is a strong book for the series. It's a change of pace to have a book that isn't focused on the family moving somewhere else. The storm does make for a good framing device. I give Little House number 6, The Long Winter, an 8 out of 10.